Kara Powell, in her book Sticky Faith, said that youth who faithfully attended their church youth group, that between 40 to 50% of them will fail to stick with their faith in college. Think about that for a minute. This means that 1 out of every 2 students who attend our kids' ministry in our youth group at the Gathering will drift away from the faith and not attend a church after they graduate high school. It's a depressing stat, isn't it? It's hard for us to fathom that after all the efforts we put into our church programs for kids and teens, the camps, the retreats, the lock-ins, the vacation Bible schools, all great things that we do in the church for kids and teens, to hear that 1 out of every 2 kids will drift from the church after graduation is disheartening and defeating. But what if I told you that hope is not lost? What if I told you this stat doesn't have to be true here at the Gathering? And what if I told you that the strategy to keep students engaged in their faith and in the church after graduation doesn't require a new flashy program, it doesn't require a huge fundraising campaign for a new youth and children's building, it doesn't require the latest, trendiest idea. It requires nothing outside of what we already currently have. Adults who care about kids. That's it. Don't believe me? I want you to listen to some of our own people who can point to an adult who poured into their life at some point as a young person.
Harold Smith,
Mrs. Kessler,
Miss Linda,
Chase McChesney,
Dennis and Peggy Bergman,
Beth Horton,
Laura Gaudeluck,
Jim and Kitty Ham,
Mrs. Harper.
Harold Smith was an older man in our congregation who I sat with every Sunday morning from the time I was probably 4 years old to 12.
She really showed me what it meant to be part of a church family as I was just getting connected with Nolan Road.
They taught me about Christ and how to love Him.
When I was in middle school, just starting out in a youth group, if I were to miss anything or not show up to something, he would call me on the phone and let me know that I was missed, and he would encourage me to come to church, and that has always stuck with me.
Dennis and Peggy were involved in helping me grow my spiritual walk from the time that I was 6, being involved in Awanas, to Sunday school, Bible studies, and events at their house for youth on the weekends from the time I was small until the time I graduated high school, and they made a huge difference in my life.
my high school Sunday school teacher, who took us on Thursday visitations in her convertible Lincoln. And we visited every other student who wasn't with us that night.
They helped us learn the books of the Bible and where to find things, and really helped all of us build a foundation that we could use to study more in depth and grow in our knowledge and our relationship with Jesus later in life.
She was someone that was like a second mother to me, and I would always be able to go into the classroom and give her a big hug and then get ready for Sunday school.
Mrs. Kessler was my 2nd grade Sunday school teacher, and it was in her class that I was led to the Lord.
Lifeway Research conducted a study looking into this sad reality that 1 out of every 2 students who graduate from the church don't return. And in their research, they found that this was pretty much true across the board of all churches in the United States. And they came to this understanding that students today are relational, and if there's not relational equity involved in a certain area, they just simply will not stick with it. 9 out of 10 kids who dropped out of church said they never had an adult in the church mentor them. 7 out of 10 said they didn't even have one adult that they would consider a close friend. So Lifeway and the research concluded this, and then they challenged kids and youth ministries with this. Teens who have 5 or more adults in their church, other than their parents, who knew their name and invested in them, even just a little bit into their lives, that more often than not, students will remain engaged in their faith and connected to church after graduation. That's it. That's the challenge. We're not making an outrageous demand. We aren't asking for a time commitment that's unrealistic. We're simply asking that you be one of 5 adults. Be one of 5 adults that a young person can point to and say, they knew my name. They invested in me. So I ask you, not just as a pastor, but as a fellow parent of an elementary kid and a teenager, I ask you, will you be one of the 5 for my kid, for my teenager? Will you be a name that my kids would mention decades later when asked who invested in you?